Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside the gymnasium here at Milford High School as Milford TV is happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. This is Tim Coet on the call as we kick off our first athletic coverage of the 2018-2019 school year. We get our fall coverage started here in the Milford gym as the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks volleyball team gets set to welcome in a Davenport Division rival in the Sharon Lady Eagles. This is game number 2 on the regular season for the new look Lady Scarlet Hawks. They opened up their season last Wednesday back on September the 6th with a 3-set sweep loss at the hands of the Franklin Lady Panthers. So coming into this matchup, overall 0-1 on the season. Sharon also comes in on the year 0-1. They lost in a 3-set sweep to the King Philip Lady Warriors back on September the 7th. So both of these teams looking to grab their first victory of the year. And as I said, this is a new-look team for Milford. A lot of new faces on this varsity team, especially the faces that will take the floor here. As, of course, Milford graduated a very large senior class in this past spring. 8 seniors that all played pivotal roles in this varsity team a year ago, all graduating this past spring. And when you think about the personnel that Milford lost, of course, you have to think of the 2 outstanding outside hitters in Kelly Reichert and Sabrina Harstick. Kelly Reichert, the team's kills leader a season ago. On the defensive side, of course, Kyra Alves had been nailing things down from the libero position for a number of seasons. Emily Pierre Gustavo, a senior on this team last year who became a serve specialist, and other key contributors as well. Of course, some big net front presence that their shoes will need to be filled this season, including Juliana Tracy, Jill Valenzola, and Kate Lobiser, who provided tremendous height, athleticism, and tenacity at the net over the last couple of seasons for this varsity team. So there are a number of key roles to fill, as I've said, but this is a hungry group, hungry to improve and hungry to get better for a program that's also looking to gain a little bit of a level of consistency, as of course there's been a lot of turnover. We've talked about it over the last several seasons now, a lot of turnover at the head coaching position, and that continued last season, of course, as Milford had to undergo a coaching change mid-season with Coach Tammy Weber taking over on an interim basis right at the end of last season. She is back at the helm for this full 2018 fall sports season, and had a lot of praise for the team that she has at her disposal this year. Again, a young team, a team that doesn't have a lot of experience at the varsity level. A number of these players, 7 in total, did suit up at the varsity level for this team last season, but not many of them saw consistent playing time. Really, Brianna Maeda, I should say, one of the senior captains for this team, one of the only players that saw some consistent time on the court as last season went on. So they'll be looking to gain some experience early, but Coach Weber saying she expects this team to continue to improve as the season goes on and will perhaps be playing their best volleyball when the team needs it the most late in the season. But we're right here at the start of this 2018-19 fall sports season. Game number 2 on the schedule for Milford as, again, they welcome in the Sharon Lady Eagles. We'll get this match started with set number 1 right when we come back after this. So stay tuned to coverage of Milford High School athletics right here on Milford TV. And right back inside the Milford gym, it is time to get this game underway. Milford taking on Sharon. Both teams out there on the court, so just moments away from set number 1 getting started. As we mentioned just a moment ago, both of these teams looking for their first victory on the season. Very few games have been played yet on the schedule. Most teams getting their season started late last week. The most any team has played in the Hockomock League so far this season in girls volleyball has been 2 matches. A couple of teams out to hot starts. In particular, the Franklin Lady Panthers, who are already 2-0 on the season. Of course, Franklin was the team in which Milford lost to last week in their first game of the season, so now out there looking to get back to 500 against a Sharon team that they ended up splitting the regular season series with a year ago. They came into last season having won their last 6 consecutive matches against Sharon, but they ended up suffering a home loss 3-1 to Sharon last year. They ended up coming back to win on the road against Sharon in the late stages of last season. But that was in the 2017 regular season. We're in 2018 now in this fall sports season. Happy to have all of the action for you once again here on Milford TV. This is our very first action of this fall sports season. We will, of course, once again have you covered with girls volleyball, boys and girls soccer, and, of course, Milford football as this fall season progresses. We look forward to getting out onto the football field for our first coverage of the season for the Scarlet Hawks coming up this Friday. And a home contest. But more on that in a little bit from now as the first serve of the match is delivered long by number 6. That is Lauren Corsini, a junior. A lot of juniors on this varsity squad this year. Just 4 seniors in total, and that includes two of the 4 captains for this year's team, 2 senior captains and 2 junior captains, as the serve from Sharon now was met on the back line by the libero. That is Sydney Sutton. Sydney, I believe, was injured for part of last season. She suited up early on in the season, but ended up on the bench through the majority of the second half of the year, but out there and a good defensive weapon for this team. And now one of those junior captains, Alyssa Williamson, with the serve, trying to find her form. That one delivered short into the net. And it's an early 2-1 score in favor of Sharon. And taking over on serve now for the Lady Eagles will be number 12, Jody Goldenberg, one of their 2 captains. Goldenberg, a senior. Abigail Fine, also a senior captain for Sharon. And right now, both of these teams struggling at the service line. A lot of short and long serves delivered on both sides through these early points. So knotted up at 2 now, as we'll see Milford's other junior captain, Julia Reardon, step behind the line. So it is Reardon and Williamson, the junior captains, and Brianna Maeda and Nina Pinto, the 2 senior captains. A strong serve by Reardon, but it's met by Sharon. They'll now deliver it softly back over, met on the front line by Corsini. A pair of Corsinis serving as a net front presence for Milford in this 2018 regular season. 2 juniors in Lauren Corsini wearing number 6, and also Allison Corsini, number 10. Now hard serve for the Sharon Lady Eagles, now sent over from the left side by Elise Fauerbach, one of the 2 underclassmen on the varsity squad. And so 3-all now. And it looks like we'll see a substitution as Lauren Corsini takes over for Allison Corsini. Stepping up to the net as Sydney Sutton now will deliver the serve. High arcing serve met in the back by number 25, Jade Veth. That's sent back over, and the point for the Lady Eagles as they will now jump on top 4-3. Milford getting new scoreboards in the gym. Those were installed during the spring season last year. Full scoreboard where it has customarily been positioned up against the far wall. But right above the entrances, there is a smaller scoreboard, so the action covered on both sides of the gym. The action on the floor right now, a 5-3 lead in the first set for Sharon. And now the serve by number 13, Bryn Aidlin-Perlman. And a soft return back over the net by Milford. Now here's Sharon from the left side. It was deflected up front, but out of the reach of Williamson. And another point for Sharon, who looked to be settling in here in the first set. A quiet crowd, but a decent-sized crowd here, as this match ended up getting underway a little after 6 o'clock, close to an hour after the projected start time. The freshman teams for these 2 schools engaged in an elongated affair, as Milford was able to just get that one over the front line. It was tipped up front by Sharon, but it got past that front line and dropped down to the court to narrow the gap to 2 points, as now the senior captain Nina Pinto will serve. To the back line, dug out nicely by Sharon. Now pushed back over, diving attempt by Williamson, good effort, but nobody home on the other side of the floor. Reardon also going to the floor to try to make a play. Milford not yet looking comfortable out on the floor, as Sharon now takes the 7-4 lead. Substitution on the Sharon side. Back out onto the floor comes Jody Goldenberg. And to serve now, Sophie Fain. Sharon with 6 wins on the year last year. They ended up going 6-12, missing out on the playoffs. Milford ended up going 7-13. The 2 teams ended in a virtual tie for 4th place in the Davenport Division standings. And so two teams with a lot of youth on their rosters looking for better results compared to last year. Big looping return. Sydney Sutton steps up to play it. Now the hard smash over the middle. That one by Lauren Corsini. Returned back over by Sharon. Now here's Williamson with a blast, but can't control it. Over the back line for another point for Sharon. Williamson, we've been able to see from having an opportunity to sit in with this team for a practice during the preseason, that she has some good strength for an outside hitter. Just needing to find that finesse, a little bit more control to keep it within the lines. As Milford now falls behind 9-5, and it looks like Coach Tammy Weber will take her first timeout of this first set. So again, 9-5, Sharon with the early lead. We'll take the timeout as well. Back with more in a moment here on Milford TV. Not a lot of words exchanged between Coach Weber and her team during that timeout, wanting to try to settle things down perhaps. A 4-point deficit here in this first set for Milford as Sharon sends the serve over. Reardon sets it up for Corsini, and a nice dig by Sharon. They deliver it over quickly. Sutton and Pinto both go into the dive for it, but cannot get there. And another kill for the Lady Eagles. 10-5 now, the advantage for the visitors. And still behind the service line is number 5, Abigail Fine. The senior captain now with a hard serve right to Sutton. Now Reardon with the clean set for Williamson. She takes a little off that time and delivers it beautifully right to the middle of the floor. No one home, and Williamson gets the kill. Definitely more like it there for the Lady Scarlet Hawks as Milford goes back on serve. Lauren Corsini on serving duties. And that one does not clear the net. Looked like it was just going to sneak over, but drops down on the Milford side. And so momentum goes right back onto the Eagles side of the floor. Here's Jade Veth with the serve. Back to Sydney Sutton. That time couldn't handle it cleanly. Ended up sending it further back out of her teammate's reach. Another serve for Veth with Sharon up 12-6. And they'll call the double hit on the Milford side. And it's now 13 in the column for Sharon. Veth now with her third straight serve. Maeda, that one coming in hot. She was able to absorb it. Milford with a high arcing shot. That one almost skimmed the rooftops. But it gets over to the Sharon side and ends with a Milford point, so the Lady Scarlet Hawks will certainly take it. Now 13-7 on the scoreboard as Williamson will serve. It's a steamy evening here in the Milford gym. High humidity in the area today, and as always, things tend to get toasty here in the Milford gym. Not a lot of airflow. A hard returning shot on the Sharon side goes cross court and just barely sneaks inside that far sideline. A 7-point advantage now for Sharon. They've led virtually the whole way. Goldenberg, another serve. Williamson digs it out. Here's Reardon setting it up over the middle, stuffed by Sharon. This time, Milford able to keep it alive and getting it back over the net. Very nice play by Sutton to keep that alive for Milford. Now Williamson, another dig to the left side for Pinto. She two-hands it over, and the best rally now of this match. Again, Sharon trying to stuff it. Sutton one-handed gets it back over the net. A couple of nice plays on this rally for Sutton. Another setup for Reardon now for Pinto trying to blast it over. Milford gets the friendly bounce over the net, still alive for Sharon, and again a one-handed desperation save for Maeda, and finally the point ends on the Sharon side, but outstanding play demonstrated on both sides. A very long rally, some tremendous athletic plays by Sydney Sutton in particular on the Milford side. So despite losing the point, we'll see if that maybe gets Milford going. Here's Pinto now again. Could not quite get the elevation on that shot. So 16-7 now in favor of Sharon. And Goldenberg will continue the service game. And that one will end in an ace. Williamson sticking the foot out in hopes to keep that ball alive. A whole lot of space on the near side of the floor. And Sutton that time giving way to Maeda. Corsini tries to drive it over the net, but delivers it past the back line. And some separation on the scoreboard now, an 11-point advantage for Sharon as Milford is forced to take another timeout. So again, 18-7, Sharon leads it over Milford, still in set number 1 here on Milford TV. Still in set number 1, 18-7, the lead for Sharon. As their captain, Jody Goldenberg, still on serve. Her serve met by the captain on the Milford side, Brianna Maeda, and Nina Pinto pumped up after she got that shot over. Sharon couldn't handle it up front. And Maeda now will get a quick breather on the bench. Into the game now is Elise Fauerbach, the sophomore. We weren't sure how many underclassmen Coach Weber was going to carry on this varsity roster, although we did hear Elise Fauerbach's name right from the start of the preseason, so showing a lot of skill, pressing the coaching staff enough to not only make this varsity team, but she's already made a couple of appearances out there on the floor so far in this first set. Serve this time coming from Macy Hyman, I should say, for Sharon. Looped over the net. Pinto sending it past that back line, kept it alive, and then had a chance for the return shot. So Milford still looking to find that range. It's a number of shots going too far beyond the back line. And it looks like right here the officials calling Milford for an infraction in terms of their formation. Nina Pinto getting called for it. The players looking to their coach for a little guidance after the infraction is called. 21-18 the score. Nicely played over the net. That looked like Bryn Adlin Perlman, who was able to get the hand on that, delivering that over for the Lady Eagles onto an empty space on the floor. And more conversation now between the official on the floor and Coach Weber, and now we're going to see the two officials come together. The official appeared to take issue with the rotation on the floor for Milford. Right now, the Lady Hawks taking the opportunity to come together to talk strategy as the two officials continue to be engaged in conversation themselves, with the scoreboard right now at 22-8. Sharon has led for most of the way here in the first set, now 3 points away from an opening set victory. And waiting to continue the serve on the Sharon side is Macy Hyman, the senior. As we mentioned, just 4 seniors on the Milford side. On the Sharon side, total of 7 seniors on the roster. So a lot of players are returning from last year's team. And again, this was a tough group, as Milford had a chance to see firsthand with that 3-1 loss here when these two teams played in Milford last season. But Milford was able to make the adjustments to defeat them in the final weeks of the season at Sharon High School. So they've won 7 out of their last 8 meetings with the Lady Eagles, has Milford. And so the conversation now breaking up amongst the officials, and so we will now see some more conversation between the officials and the Milford coaching staff as play continues to be delayed. And it looks like now we are finally ready to continue. And before we continue now, the final decision getting relayed to the scorers table. So it looks like we will remain at 22-8 as the serve hits off the hands of Pinto and off into the bleachers. And Sharon now 2 points away from taking this first set. Macy Hyman looking to close things out in the set for Sharon. Here's Pinto now over the middle. And that one just sneaking in. That was close. Looped it over Sharon as they pulled in towards the net. And that one just hugging inside that back line. Milford needing points in a hurry now as Sydney Sutton will serve. She sends a dart to the back line, absorbed by Allison Brown. Now back over Williamson and Sutton collided, but play continues as Milford returns it. Now over the middle, the shot sent over by Sarah Fandel. And it results in the kill for the Lady Eagles, and now we will see set point. Bryn Adlin Perlman back behind the line. Sends it over right to the libero. And that one sneaking under the net, out of the reach of any Milford teammates, and that will conclude things here in set number one, 25-9. Sharon able to take it. So 1-0 lead for the visitors. As we will take a quick break, the two teams will switch sides, and we will be back with more right on the other side of this break. Stay tuned to coverage of Milford High School athletics here on Milford TV. Sharon claiming victory in the first set. They will now attack from left to right. Milford from right to left as we begin set number two here on our coverage of Milford girls volleyball on Milford TV. I'm Tim Coed, happy to be with you. Milford keeping this opening serve alive, returning it back over and forcing a couple of players into the dive on the back line, and Milford gets the first point in set number two, hoping to get off to a better start. Sharon was able to build up a lead after the two teams exchanged points very early on in that first set, but Sharon was able to get comfortable, and from there they were able to cruise to that 25-9 set victory. As Alyssa Williamson can't locate the serve. It's going to be the key for Milford as this match continues, is trying to get better accuracy on both their serves and their return shots. Over the middle now for Corsini, hard to the back line. Sharon, a crowd closing in on that ball, but able to get the communication to return it over. Pinto trying to drop it just over the net, but delivered it outside that near sideline. So Sharon able to pull in front in the early stages of this second set. Now Milford with a laser over the net. Sharon tried to save it, but that one deflects off to the championship banners, and Milford knots it up. Now Mayetta will serve. Milford now 2 years removed from that memorable playoff run all the way to the district semifinals in 2016. That team led by the likes of Ali Zagami and Lauren Zarangian. Again, Milford looked to have the talent last season to make another run to the playoffs, but just ran into a lot of trouble in the early stages of the season. Ended up losing their first 6 consecutive matches out of the chute. That ended up putting them behind the 8 ball early. They ended up starting 1-9. Really took them out of the running for a potential playoff spot quickly. And then, of course, the coaching change happened. And from there, Milford had better results late. They ended up going 6-4 over their last 10 games. So they played above 500 over that final stretch and looking to carry that momentum into this season. But, of course, as we mentioned, a number of seniors graduating from this squad. So looking for the younger players, the less experienced players to step up. So now tied at 3. The setup on the left side for Pinto to the back line, but it's dug out. Now again, play goes to Mia Iacovella. Now up front for Reardon. She two-hands it over with her back to the net. Now across the middle, Sharon delivers it over softly. Another lengthy rally in the making here as Pinto delivers it squarely into the net. Pinto, like her fellow captain, Alyssa Williamson, with good velocity on these shots, but it's about 3 or 4 now that she has not been able to get over the net. It's still early in the season as all these players try to settle in for the long run. Pinto that time, a nice shot, but it's blocked by the Lady Eagles. Milford trying to recover, but again, it ends up in the net, and Sharon now taking a 2-point advantage as they sub out. Behind the service line, Allison Brown. The junior with a straight line serve to Maeda, and now that one awkwardly coming off the hand of Lauren Corsini. Sharon looking to do the same thing they did in the first set, which is to pull away after an exchange of points early. That one looped back over, now off the fingertips. That was placed well that time by Corsini, floating it over the front line into open space to get the kill. And now here's Pinto to serve with Milford down by 2. That dig just missing the folded up basketball net up against the ceiling. And Milford able to block the shot, and they get the kill. And they pull to within 1, 6-5 the score. Pinto to serve yet again, a good one. Absorbed by Iacovella. And now a hard return by Sharon. Cross-court setup for Williamson. She smashes it to the back line, and Sharon cannot return. We're knotted up at 6, the kill for Williamson. It's a good sequence here from Milford, one of their best so far tonight. That serve delivered to the right side for Sharon. They get it back over, met by Brianna Maeda. Now Williamson again to the back line. Sharon has to play it, and too many touches. And this is going to force Sharon head coach Andrea Lovett. Looked like we were going to see a Sharon timeout, but instead just some quick communication for Coach Lovett. Milford pulling ahead in this set now, 7-6, and another excellent serve by Pinto. Credit Sharon, though, they're able to make the return. Now Williamson again from the left side, and another kill. And Milford on a roll now. Turning a 2-point deficit now into a 2-point lead. It's been the captains leading the way, the senior Pinto and the junior Williamson. That Pinto serve met by Macy Hyman. Now the soft touch over the net by Sharon, and that breaks up the Milford momentum. The leap up front from Milford was misjudged. Sharon delivering that one over softly, and it was effective. So 8-7 now. Coach Weber, no doubt, very pleased with that series of points by her team, their best play so far in this match. Yes, Milford tips the ball out of play, and that will knot things back up again, this time at 8-all. Daylight slowly fading here in the gym as we start to get close to 7 in the evening. It's 6:40 right now. And Elise Fauerbach returns to the floor for Milford as Julia Reardon stands behind the service line. Milford back on top by a point. Reardon showing good intensity and what we had a chance to see of her in practice. Very vocal, very engaged with her teammates, so certainly not a surprise that she found herself as a junior captain for this team. Milford has very strong leadership across the board amongst the 4 captains. Coach Weber not wanting to see the leadership dominated by the senior class. She wanted to see some younger players engaged in leadership roles on this team, and therefore Alyssa Williamson and Julia Reardon chosen as captains. And substitution finally allowed on the Milford side. Slowing down play for a moment as now Reardon takes a couple of bounces behind the line, and now with the serve, and Sharon lets it go, wisely so. It goes beyond the back line. Substitution for Sharon, a couple of them now, we'll see. Looks like 3 in total. We saw Jody Goldenberg make her way back out onto the floor, and now we have another delay as the officials perhaps going over the substitutions at the scorers table. It's been a very deliberate pace throughout this match so far. Again, as we mentioned earlier, the freshman teams for these 2 schools engaged in a lengthy match prior to the start of this varsity game. They actually did not wrap up that freshman match until about 5 minutes after the original scheduled start time for the varsity match. We were supposed to get this game underway at 5:15. Didn't end up getting started until a little bit after 6 o'clock, and now quickly approaching 7. And still a ways to go here in set number 2. And now things straightened out as the second substitution is now acknowledged by the officials. And with that, we'll see Sarah Mala, the senior, take the serve for the Lady Eagles. Mala to Williamson. Now Reardon sets it up on the left side for Fauerbach. A good return. Sharon has the answer. Now Sydney Sutton opts to let that one go, and that just snuck inside the far corner. So tied again. 3rd tie through these early points. Now a harder serve that time out of Mala. Fauerbach into the dive, could not save it. Coach Weber with a lot of communication after that Sharon point. Trying to guide a young roster through some early growing pains through this varsity season. And Coach Weber was very candid about her expectations for this team, as Sharon will get the kill. She understood that this team was going to need time to learn at the varsity level. Told me before the season we might be playing catch-up late in the year, but does expect this team to be contending for a playoff spot, as Sutton again pulls the hands down to let it go, and another ball sneaks inside the back line. So Sharon now up 13-10 as the serves keep coming from Mala. Sutton now into the knee slide to get the dig. Now Fauerbach with a hard return to the back line. And a double hit on the Sharon side. The infraction gives Milford the point. (13-11). Sharon with the 2-point advantage. And more confusion for Milford, as now we'll see Sydney Sutton take the serve, and Lauren Corsini ends up taking a seat on the bench. The rotations have been not the cleanest for Milford so far. Now it's Allison Corsini who returns. Sutton with the dig. Williamson, the hard smash from the left side. And now that ball sneaking past the dive by Sutton. Looked momentarily like she was favoring that knee as she went down, but perhaps just trying to regain her balance. She looks to be fine. 14-11 score now in favor of Sharon. They're back on serve. Captain Abigail Fine now waiting to serve it out. Delivers it back to Nina Pinto. Now Williamson. Looked like that wasn't the cleanest setup, but Williamson was able to adjust and then was able to find bare floor to get the kill, and now she will go right on serve. Their team trailing by 2, trailing 1-0. Williamson sends it right to Sophie Fain, and now a mishit as it comes right back to Fain. And Milford pulls to within 1. Now Williamson hard to the back line. Big looping dig on the Sharon side, and then delivered over beyond the far sideline. And 14-14. So Milford keeping the scoreboard much closer here in the second set, making those adjustments. Williamson now with that hard straight line serve, and it took a hard deflection off into the crowd, and a couple of unsuspecting fans getting up close and personal with the volleyball. Everyone looks to be fine. Just some laughs exchanged in the stands as Milford now takes the 15-14 lead. Williamson with that serve coming up on Sharon in a hurry, but able to get it back over the net now for Pinto. And that ball sneaks down inside the Sharon side of the floor, and now Coach Lovett will take the timeout as Milford is able to take a 16-14 lead. The fans starting to get engaged here in the Milford gym. We will have more in the second set right after this here on Milford TV. Williamson serves out of the timeout, trying to increase this Milford lead. Dug out by Maya Aiden Perlman. Sydney Sutton with a diving, sprawling play to keep the ball alive. Now returned back over by Sharon, the front line from Milford, taking some heat off of that. Now Pinto gets it just off the hands of the front line on the Sharon side. It's delivered back over by Abigail Fine. Now over the middle is Corsini. And 3 players going after that one for Sharon, and they eventually have to fire it into the net. Couldn't get much on that shot after a couple of players went after the setup. And Milford now with a 17-14 lead. Williamson again to that back row. Return to the Milford back row for Sydney Sutton. Here's Fauerbach now. Off the hands of Abigail Fine. Sharon saves it. Now Sutton comes up with the diving play. But a double hit. Consistently better effort and execution for Milford here in the second set. They lead at 17-15. Now Jade Veth on the serve. Sutton once again with the dig. Allison Corsini. Her return shot into the net. Corsini with another chance, this time sending it long. You think about all the years that Milford had the luxury of having such experienced athletic play up front. Jill Valenzola, Juliana Tracy, Kate Lobiser, the three seniors that roamed the front of the net. Players with good size, good strength, good court vision. A lot of talent on this team, but just looking to find that experience to take their play to the next level, and that's really going to be the story for a lot of these girls sports teams for Milford. You think about that class of 2018, just absolutely loaded with incredible talent on the female side that really dominated these varsity rosters for the last 2 or 3 years. And in the case of the softball team, that class of 2018 making their mark all 4 years. So there's room for a lot of new athletic talent to step up amongst the female ranks. That'll be fun to see as this year goes on. Meanwhile, Milford, after having that good run through the middle stages of this set, Sharon has been able to steal the lead again, up 19-18. Goldenberg's been their best server so far in this game. Now diving play coming towards the sideline. Nicely executed by Jade Veth. And now Corsini gets stuffed. Keeps it alive though, and now Maeda able to one-hand it back over. Now from the right side. Sophie Fain for Sharon, who sent it beyond the back line to tie things up at 19. And it looks like instead of seeing the serve from Sutton, it will be Anna Alvarenga. The score at 19 all. Now ready for the serve. Good velocity on that serve, and that one looped around the antenna. A point goes to Milford. They take a 20-19 lead, so this set now coming down to the wire. And Alvarenga that time fires it into the net, so we'll now see a 20-20 lead. Some crucial moments in the game. Sharon looking to take a commanding 2-0 lead. Milford hoping they can even this match up. And now to the service line for the Lady Eagles is Allison Brown. As we see several changes on the Milford side. As the Sharon server waits. And now play to resume. Sutton reads that one well. Not afraid to go into the dive or the slide to make plays, which is just what you need out of your defensive specialist, and leads to a point on the Milford side. And now back on serve goes Nina Pinto, who helps Milford gain some really good momentum earlier in this set with her service game. And so the late call by the officials, we heard sort of a half whistle, but eventually ruling the double hit on the Sharon side. So now 22-20. Milford 3 points away from the set win as Pinto skims the tape on top of the net, gets it over and gets the kill. The ace, I should say, and now Coach Levitt has to call the timeout with the score at 23-20. So Milford in good position to take the second set. We'll see if they can seal the deal when we come back next here on Milford TV. Three points away from a set win as Pinto continues the serve. And Sharon whiffs on the dig attempt. And now set point for Milford, 24-20. Pinto to the back line. This one swatted down by Milford in the front row, and that gets the kill that gives Milford a second set victory, 25-20. And so it's now Milford with a set and Sharon with a set, so all evened up. As we will take another break for the floor change. Back with more here in the Milford gym as the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks take on the Sharon Lady Eagles. Girls volleyball action here on Milford TV. It's been an entertaining match so far. Sharon taking the first set 25-9. And Sharon taking a couple of different leads in that second set, but Milford able to keep it closer, and Nina Pinto able to close it out on her service game late, giving Milford the 25-20 victory in the second set. So tied up now as we are about to get started here with set number 3. And for Milford, that was their first set victory of the season after getting swept by Franklin back on September 6th in their season opener. This, of course, their home opener here of this 2018 fall season. They'll play back-to-back games at home. This game here tonight against Sharon. They'll be back at it a couple of nights from now on the 14th of September, taking on King Philip. And after that, it'll be 2 straight road games. They'll travel to Foxborough on the 17th and then to Mansfield on the 20th before their next home date on September 24th, taking on the North Attleboro Lady Rocketeers. So that'll look at a little bit of the upcoming schedule for the Lady Scarlet Hawks. And once again, we have a very methodical pace to getting all of the particulars squared away before this third set begins. And now we'll see the ball sent over onto the Milford side of the floor, once again attacking from left to right across your television screens. Very excited to have another year of athletic competition from Milford High School here on Milford TV. Sydney Sutton will get this third set started on serve as Sharon with some bad communication on that far sideline, but they're able to save it. Now over the middle, but delivered out of play by Allison Corsini. On serve for Sharon, Jade Veth. She delivers it into the net. So Milford will go right back on serve. Now it will be Alyssa Williamson. Williamson floats that one softly to the far sideline, met by Veth. Sharon returns to the left side now, sent over by Nina Pinto, but couldn't keep that one on the playing surface. Looks like a contingent of Milford's varsity boys soccer team in the house taking on the later stages of this match. Boys soccer team got off to a very good start to their season last week, defeating Franklin in their season opener 2-0, a couple of goals out of Wallison de Oliveira. See if we can get a final score on their match against Sharon, which took place earlier this afternoon. Having to play through some inclement weather. It's a rainy day through the majority of the afternoon. The soccer team able to play through out on the turf surface. Here in the Milford gym, this third set tied at 2 with Brianna Maeda sending the serve over. That one a sinking liner, but Veth again with a good play. That ball clipped over the net, but does not land in play. And so Milford will take a lead. Maeda now delivers that one to the near side Front line taking something off of it. Now Reardon for Corsini. The blast stays over on the Sharon side. Allison Corsini with some good height up front to deliver those spikes. Here's Maeda again, dug out by Sharon. Now two-handed over by Sarah Fidel. Now Pinto really wound up for that return shot and ends up getting the kill. You can just see the whole demeanor out on the floor is much more positive, much more comfortable for Milford as they've gotten deeper into this match. Looked to be a little tight through that first set, but playing a little bit more free and easy now. Now from the left side, that one easily handled by Sydney Sutton, but a double hit by Milford. A 5-3 lead now for Milford as the serve is handled by Williamson. An athletic play by Julia Reardon to keep it alive. Now returned again by Sharon. Reardon up front for Allison Corsini. Corsini gets another kill up front. And finally now the substitutions made for Milford. Allison Corsini out, Lauren Corsini onto the floor. And back behind the line, Anna Alvarenga. Now Sharon sets it up over the middle, and Milford got drawn in a little bit too close. So a 6-4 score. Milford getting an assist from, looked to be Joao Boaventura, who used his soccer skills to deliver that ball with the foot back over onto the Sharon side for the serve. Of course, Boaventura also accomplished on the volleyball court as well in the springtime. Helped the Scarlet Hawks boys volleyball team to a long playoff run this past spring, hoping to do the same in the spring of 2019. The serve sent too long by Sharon. 7-5 as Nina Pinto once again will serve. Look to get a little tangled up with the footwork. The end result, the serve did not make it over the net, so now the lead down to a single point for Milford as we see substitutions for Sharon. Sophie Fain will serve it out for the Lady Eagles. And now the serve into the net on the Sharon side, so right back to Milford. Sharon will enjoy back-to-back home games after they wrap this one up tonight. They'll host Mansfield on Friday and then North Attleboro on Monday. That one flipped over from the front line by Sharon, but Milford was ready for it. Now Reardon gets it back over and Sharon cannot. And a 9-6 Lady Hawks lead. And Reardon, after helping Milford to that point, now will serve. A hard blast on that serve. And unable to be returned. Now with the 10-6 lead, Reardon can't clear the net. So Milford continues to lead. They haven't quite been able to extend it. Now Abigail Fine. Nicely dug out by Sydney Sutton. And Sharon with a good play over on their right side. That was Mia Iacovella with her back to the net, who was able to return it. And the point eventually going Sharon's way. 10-8 now the score. And another serve from Fine coming up. And that one was in. And some bad communication on the back line for Milford. A couple of players left staring at each other. Coach Weber trying to make some adjustments from the bench after that miscommunication. A good read by Lauren Corsini. And now it's Sydney Sutton with another knee slide, helping Milford guide the return to the back line. Now it's the senior captain, Pinto, with the dig, and that will give Milford the point as that one glanced hard off the Sharon back line and out of play. Sutton too strong on the serve, excuse me. And it's down to a 1-point Milford advantage. Milford's felt like they've been in control of this third set, but the lead has never been more than about 3 points. Now it's down to 1, at least for the moment. Sharon gets that one over the net, but it ends up twisting off beyond the far sideline. That pushes the lead to 2 points now for Milford, with Alyssa Williamson now to serve. Williamson to the back line. Veth keeps it going. Sharon eventually returns. Now here's Corsini. Went up for the block, but that ball did not end up making it over the net. So I beg your pardon, that did end up going as a point on the Sharon side to make it 12-11. Williamson a dig. Pinto the return. And that time it fails to clear the net. As the senior captain, Brianna Maeda, returns to the floor. She will step back to serve out. Trying to give Milford a little breathing room in this third set. And misjudging that one was Sarah Fandel on the Sharon side. Couldn't return it over the net. Another serve for Maeda right to the center of the floor. Now from the right side, returned over by number 13, Bryn Adlin Perlman. Corsini with the infraction that gave Sharon the point. It's been that kind of a set. It's very much back and forth. Milford getting a little bit more comfortable now with their substitutions. That one a little bit cleaner as Allison Corsini and Anna Alvarenga come back out onto the floor. Alvarenga with a hard serve that stays on the playing surface. Now hard return by Sharon, and Sharon getting an assist from the rooftop, forcing Milford to scramble to try to make the play. They could not, and now the score at 15-13. Serve sent over by Bryn Adlin-Perlman. Nice return shot by the senior captain Pinto. Now this time it's Corsini. And into the dive for it, Williamson. Fellow junior captain Reardon follows suit, but the ball could not be returned. And Sharon now again tightens it up to a 1-point Milford lead. And that serve sneaking in for an ace for the Lady Eagles, and that ties it up at 15. So Milford had held on to the lead for just about this entire set, but and Sharon keeping it close and now tying things up. Adlin-Perlman after the ace, looking to now give her team the lead with this next serve, but misfiring. Milford will take it. Pinto, another good accurate serve, but can't make the play on the dive. Excellent effort. I think you more or less expected to see a back and forth match here between two teams that were right up against one another in the standings last season. Here's Williamson now, and that return shot really handcuffed Aya Cavella. So Milford now a 17-16 lead. Fauerbach onto the floor, back onto the front row as Julia Reardon will serve. Reardon blasts it over. A return from the back row. Here's Reardon now, a clean set for Williamson. And that one tough for Bryn Adlin-Perlman to handle. A kill for Williamson. We continue this seesaw third set battle. Milford back up by 2. Sharon front row tipping it over a couple of times. Milford keeps it going. Now their spot on the floor. Sharon finds it, as that time Milford was caught out too far on the perimeter. Served by Abigail Fine. Now from the right side, it's Corsini. She cuts back to the middle as Sharon sends it over to the back row. Now Williamson two-hands it over. And Sutton letting that one go, and it just drifted beyond the back line. Corsini for Corsini swap before this next serve. And that one off the speaker on the ceiling, and that puts Milford in front 20-7. Here is Sydney Sutton. All the way to the net. Sent over, but wide. Milford now 4 points away from taking a 2-1 advantage. And a tricky bounce off the net for Sharon. They could not play it, and Coach Lovett has to call the timeout. 22-17, Milford leading in the late stages of this third set. Trying to take a lead here against Sharon. We'll see if they can close it out after this on Milford TV. Both teams back out on the floor. Sutton with the serve, and very nice dig, sending that one clean over the net from Sharon. Now the rally continues. The two-hander sent over by Jade Veth. Now here's Corsini, gets the deflection out front, but Sharon able to return. Now Williamson into the dive, and infraction on the Sharon side gives Milford the point. 23-17 now. The set win 2 points away. This has been a good stretch behind the service line for Sydney Sutton. And now that one has to be played on the back line. Again, almost skimming the roof, but this time Sharon able to return it. Milford gets it back over. And now played cautiously by Sydney Sutton. Now Williamson over, but just long. Milford thought they had the kill, but that ball went just beyond the back line, and a 23-18 score. So Milford having to refocus. This is not out of Sharon's reach here. Now Williamson from the right side gets the deflection in the front row. Sharon looked like they were going to get a clean setup, but ended up just out of the reach of Bryn Adlin Perlman up front, and now it's set point for Milford with Williamson to serve out. Now set up to the left side and returned over by Adlin Perlman. Now Nina Pinto, and she picks a perfect spot on the floor, gets the kill, and that gives Milford a third set victory, 25-18. And so Milford now with a 2-1 advantage, and they'll have a chance to take this match if they can win set number 4, which will get started in just a matter of moments. Again, you are tuned into coverage of Milford girls volleyball, and it's right here on Milford TV. Once again, we come to you from the gymnasium here at Milford High School in the midst of an entertaining match between the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks and the Sharon Lady Eagles. Our first coverage of this fall sports season, and it's been a good one. Both of these teams in search of their first win of the season. And Milford right now leading Sharon 2-1 as we begin set 4 with the serve on the Sharon side. And Williamson will get a chance for the return, but delivers it out of play to the near side, deflecting hard into the Sharon bench. So the first point goes to the Lady Eagles. Sharon winning the opening set handily, 25-9. So an inauspicious start for Milford. It had the makings perhaps of a one-sided affair, but that has not turned out to be the case. We've seen much better play from Milford over the last 2 sets. They've both been close. As Sharon gets a nice bounce off the net to keep play going, and now Corsini over the middle. A hard shot, and it deflects off of Sharon into the stands for a point for Milford. But Milford able to take set 2, 25-20. They took the third set just moments ago, 25-18, so now they lead it. And so now Williamson with the serve. And Sharon trying to catch Milford napping. That quick return. A double hit now on the Sharon side, and Milford takes their first lead here in the fourth set. And now off the net again, played well by Sharon. They deliver it over. And now tipped softly by Corsini. She gets the kill. And the service game continues for Alyssa Williamson. And a quick 4-1 lead. Williamson on a roll. Now the setup over the middle, Corsini. She timed the jump perfectly, gets the block. Milford now with 5 straight points in their column. Now Williamson the push up front. Corsini gets a deflection on the Sharon front row. Now pushed over for Sydney Sutton. Now from the left side, it's Pinto. Kept alive by Sharon. Now their outside hitter able to get the kill. That time Jade Veth getting the job done. So that breaks up the mini string for Milford. And Veth now on serve, and she's able to get the ace just beyond the reach of Williamson. So just a quick reminder, we will also have coverage to close out this week of the Milford High School football team as they will enjoy their home opener this Friday against the Franklin Panthers, an outstanding rivalry of neighboring Hockomock League teams, Milford of the Davenport, Franklin of the Kelly Rex. Very much looking forward to bringing you that coverage on Friday evening here on Milford TV. And of course, as always, you can check out all of our coverage throughout this entire 2018-2019 school year on our Milford TV educational channel and also on our YouTube page. There's Pinto, and couldn't quite judge that one the way she would have liked. Firing it into the net, and just like that, from a 5-1 deficit, Sharon tying it up at 5. Fauerbach sets it up for Corsini, who gets the deflection off the back row and out of play. Fauerbach, after helping out on that point, heads to the bench. Maeda out onto the floor to serve. And Maeda drawing in Bryn Adlin Perlman into the dive. She couldn't return it. Another serve now for Maeda. Up front, softly sent over, but well placed as, again, Williamson and Sutton get tangled up. Alyssa Williamson telling us, as part of our volleyball season preview that aired on the Milford Informer last week, that her entire life revolves around volleyball. She's been playing it for her entire life, so she has been ready for an opportunity to see consistent playing time at the varsity level and having an opportunity to take on a leadership role with this team this year. And April Swain now getting an opportunity to take the floor. We saw a little bit of April Swain in her sophomore year playing at the varsity level for the Milford softball team. Having a chance to make a few pinch hitting appearances. I also believe Swain made a few appearances in the pitcher circle as well. And with almost the entire starting lineup and pitching rotation graduating from last year's softball team, you have to imagine April Swain will see a good deal of playing time when a very different looking Lady Hawks roster takes the field in the spring of 2019, but we are a ways away from that. Still shocking to think of how brief that playoff run was for the softball team this past spring. After the state championship in 2017 and a stretch of 40-plus consecutive victories that was broken up in the final 2 games of the regular season. Milford losing in the first round to Bishop Fian. And that core that brought them the championship now all moving on to the college level. A 10-7 Milford lead here on the volleyball court as the point goes on the Sharon side. Fraction up front by Reardon. Reardon looks to be cramping up a little bit in that left calf area. She's been trying to stretch that out in between the last couple of points. This has been a long match, and again, very humid conditions here in the gym. These players trying to stay hydrated as best they can, but not a surprise to see some cramping for these players. And Reardon now will have a chance to step behind the service line with Milford in front now 11-8. Soft return for Sharon. Now over the middle for Corsini, Lauren Corsini, but beyond the back line. Substitution on the Sharon side as Allison Brown goes to the bench. Brown donning the libero jersey here for this 4th set. Sharon able to get the kill to pull it back to within a point. Once again, refusing Milford to build up a sizable lead. Good communication from Milford that time, drawing Williamson in on the short serve, but as Sharon returned it back over, Milford couldn't make the play a second time. And the 4th set now even at 11. Sarah Fandel serving for Sharon. Now Fauerbach trying to push that one over instead of setting it up. It did not work out in Milford's favor as now Sharon pulls ahead 12-11. Good adjustments by Milford as Reardon ended up returning it. Swain looked to want to make a play on that ball on the back row, but did not make contact. The ball ended up over the back line. Swain, after logging a couple of minutes, now back to the bench. Sydney Sutton will serve. Sharon able to track that one down. Nicely done by Allison Brown. And now Williamson, hard shot from the left side. too many touches on that front row by Sharon. So now Milford back up 13-12. And now the referee up by the net with a couple of words for Julia Reardon. And Coach Lovett now with a quick conversation with the official on the near side of the floor. Some procedural issues have at times really bogged down the pace of this match. Reardon, good vision to get to that ball, now returned over by Fauerbach. But Sydney Sutton could not get to that one, and we're tied again at 13. Milford trying to take this set to end it. Sharon trying to send us to a fifth and decisive set. Abigail Fine with the serve. Here's Williamson. Cross-court returning shot. Now Reardon with the dive. Corsini with the return. Sharon pushes it back over. Now Corsini again, a little bit more on that one, but Sharon able to dig it out. Infraction at the net for Sharon, and Milford back up by a single point. Very tight here as we get deeper into this fourth set. Now over the middle, and it's Pinto who steps in to make the play, now returns it. Williamson stays calm as she guides that ball back over. Now punched over by Sharon. Reardon will set it up for Corsini. Deflected by the libero, Allison Brown, but off and out of play, and a longer rally that time goes Milford's way. 15-13, and now Williamson collects the loose ball and prepares to serve. And pushed back from the back row, a nice bounce off the net for Sharon. The front row from Milford was ready for it. And now the double hit by Sharon puts the point in Milford's column, 16-13. Looped over. Here's Reardon for Pinto. Pinto able to split those defenders up front. And now desperation attempt by Allison Brown to send it back over from the back row. Could not do it, and Milford now back into a groove. Matches their largest lead of this fourth set at 4. And Williamson can't keep it going. That time delivers the serve too long. Now Pinto steps in and sends that one just inside the line. Great control that time by Pinto. And now Brianna Maeda back onto the floor to serve. Can't find the range. 18-15, and now Sharon trying to get organized. Who will take the serve? And so we'll see Jody Goldenberg come back in off the bench. The captain will serve. Milford waiting for that one to come down. They timed it well. Corsini returning it over. Now Maeda to Reardon, and now Williamson punches at it. From the left side for Sharon, and returned over in one shot for Milford. And again, the attack by Bryn Adlin-Perlman on the left side, as this time Milford sends it over the back line, and tough point for Milford to lose. Good play on both sides of the net as the score narrows to 18-16. There's Williamson to the net, and Reardon handcuffed Corsini up front, but she was able to redirect herself. Now much cleaner look this time, but Sharon with the block. Sarah Fendel. And it's back down to a 1-point game. Here's Pinto getting the deflection up front. Some indecision, but Sharon gets it over. Now a wild attempt for Sharon, ends up getting it back over the net, and this time Fandel can't get the job done. And Milford now will go back on serve, as we'll once again see the duo of Lauren Corsini and April Swain return to the floor. Swain will serve. Sent Sharon backpedaling, and also forced the double hit up front to push Milford to an even 20 points. Lead this match again 2-1. Now leading this fourth set 20-17. Now 20-18 after Corsini is looking for reinforcements on that last play. None arrived in time. So the serve now goes to Sarah Mala for Sharon. Williamson able to get to it. And Lauren Corsini with the return. Swain aggressively going after that one. That may have gone out of play had she kept the arms down. And getting that word perhaps from the sideline, nodding in agreement, frustrated with herself. That again cuts it to a 1-point margin. And that serve very well placed. It wasn't delivered hard by Mala, but she picked her spot well. Now 20 all, and we'll see a quick return to the floor for Allison Corsini replacing Swain. Now instead we'll see Sydney Sutton return to the floor. Now Reardon for Pinto. Sends it along that far sideline, keeps it in play, and Milford gets the point. 21-20, they pull back on top. Pinto will take over on serve. Can she be the closer? A desperation attempt there for Sharon. It pays off. They get the return. Now Corsini loops it, but right to Abigail Fine. Fine another chance. And now Williamson hard over the net. The infraction on the Sharon side pushes Milford to 22-20. pushed over the net. Milford able to adjust as Williamson returns. Now over the middle, and a diving play by Pinto sends it back over the net. Now Corsini gets stuffed. And another point, hard earned for Milford. And so the Lady Scarlet Hawks now 2 points away from a match victory, and head coach Andrea Lovett calling another timeout on the Sharon side. We will take the timeout as well. Milford with a win within their grasp. They'll try to finish it off when we come back next here on Milford TV. It's been a long match as we approach 8 o'clock in the evening, but Milford needs just 2 more points to seal the deal. The service game continues for the senior captain, Nina Pinto. She is ready to go. The officials talking things over with the volunteers at the scorer's table. Now signals that play can continue. Pinto is ready. Her serve away to the back line off the fingertips of Allison Brown. And it is now match point for the Lady Scarlet Hawks at 24-20. Pinto eventually settling that ball down, ready to continue. Sends it over. Returned over the middle by Sharon. Reardon the clean set for Williamson, and it ticks off the net and down onto the Sharon side of the floor, and that will wrap things up here tonight. Milford wins this 4th set 25-20, and after losing the first set here in this match, they come back with 3 straight set victories, and they will claim the win here tonight against Sharon. Milford now at the 500 mark on the season, 1-1 overall. Sharon, their 2nd straight defeat out of the chute, they fall to 0-2. So a nice victory here for this young Scarlet Hawks team, and they'll have a chance to enjoy it for a couple of nights before they're back in action coming up on Friday, as they will be on the road. Or excuse me, they'll be back at home taking on the King Philip Lady Warriors on Friday evening. But that will wrap up our coverage here for tonight. A big thank you to our Milford TV crew, our camera operator Rob O'Keefe, and our statistician Caitlin Mobilia. And I am Tim Coette. That final score, one final time, Milford defeats Sharon by a final score of 3-1. This has been a presentation of Milford High School Athletics here on Milford TV. So long, everybody.